Okay, this is a review for your quiz on Chapter 5, Sections 1 and 2. I will go over some of these things with you, and hopefully it won't take too long. So here in the first problems on this review, right here, determine which function is linear or quadratic, and then identify the quadratic, linear, and constant terms. Folks, you're only going to have one like this on your quiz. Not this one, too basic. Not this one, too basic. One sort of like this one, but it might be a little bit, there might be a little bit more that you have to do there, kind of like what you had in the homework. So what you need to do here is you have to multiply this out. If there is something in between these two, like a subtraction sign, you're going to have to distribute the negative. So be careful that you know how to multiply and simplify this. So what I have here is a y equals, you have to FOIL. You're going to do 3 multiplied with 2x and get 6x. And 3 multiplied with positive 1 is positive 3. And then here, negative x multiplied with positive 2x. So it's going to be negative times positive is negative. X times 2x is 2x squared. And now here you have negative x plus 1. So 1 times negative x is negative x. Now, you can't leave it like that. You do have to rearrange it and combine like terms. Look, I have those two terms are x terms. We call them linear terms. This right here is my quadratic. This has to go in order of highest to lowest power. So we got negative 2x squared. We're going to combine 6x and subtract 1x from it. That's going to give me a positive 5x. Okay, so I combined those and I'm left with my constant 3. Okay, so this is the equation in standard form. We had to convert it from factored form into standard form. You have to multiply everything out, combine like terms. And then you're going to, it says, determine whether it's linear or quadratic. On the test, you're going to circle one of these. Clearly, since the exponent here is 2, this is quadratic. Okay? So this is a quadratic function or equation. Then you're going to identify the quadratic, linear, and constant terms. Your quadratic term is negative 2x squared. Your linear term is your x to the power 1, right? So that's 5x. And then your constant term is 3. That's the one with no variable. Now, keep in mind, if there's nothing here, then your constant is going to be 0. All right, let's move on to the next type of problems. You will have one problem to do like this on your quiz. Quiz is only 4 problems. Okay, so what does it ask us to do? This is asking us to identify the vertex. So that's your highest or your lowest point here. All right, that's the vertex, but it's not enough just to put a V there. You're going to say the vertex has coordinates x is 0, y is negative 1. Folks, these are ordered pairs. You need parentheses. I'm seeing on some of the tests that some of you are not writing ordered pairs in parentheses. And then you have to draw and label and identify the axis of symmetry. Folks, the axis of symmetry is the dashed line that passes through the vertex. Okay, and the axis of symmetry, since it is a line, it's the equation of a line, x equals. Whatever x is in the vertex, that's what x equals in your AOS. Then it says, give the points corresponding to P and Q. So we've got a P prime and a Q prime. You are going to use the axis of symmetry. Look, point Q is 1 unit away from the axis of symmetry on the right. You're going to go 1 unit away on the left side and identify that point as Q prime and give its coordinates. The coordinate here is x is -1, and y is 0. All right, up here is point P. P is 1, 2 units away from the axis of symmetry on the left. 1, 2 units away from the axis of symmetry on the right gives us this point right here. And you're going to call that P prime, so that's point P, this is P prime, and give the coordinates of that point. The coordinates of that point happens to be x is 2, y is 1, 2, 3. Okay? So again, you will have one like this, similar, and you'll have one like this. Now, what else does this say right here, in case you may have missed it? Okay, so you're going to give the vertex, give the coordinates for points P and Q prime, give the AOS as the axis of symmetry, and then you're going to tell if this thing has a max or a min, and you're going to give the max or the min value. Okay, this thing has a min, it's the lowest point. And the min is going to be the y value from the vertex coordinates. That's the lowest value on the graph. That's a y value of -1. Okay, so all of this is what you would have to put on your quiz. There'll be answer lines for it. And read the directions so that you can figure that out. Now, for the last part of the quiz, you will have 2 problems that you will have to graph. And you will have to do this part right here. On the quiz, you will have to label on your graph the vertex, the axis symmetry, the max or the min value. You're going to give that. Okay, and this is what the answer lines are going to look like. Also, you'll have a grid because you will have to graph it on the grid. Now, you're not going to have to take any of these. It's already going to be given to you in standard form. In other words, it's going to be given to you like this. Y equals -2x squared plus 5x plus 3. You won't have to multiply anything out. It's going to be given to you in standard form. The problems on this review was not multiplied out, but we could do that. You know, if I take a look at number 13, number 13 is y equals 2 times x plus 1 squared minus 4. All right, I'm going to move this up. Now remember, you do have to do PEMDAS, so this 2 stays, and then what's going to happen is you have to square x plus 1. Okay, minus 4. Okay, you have to do what's inside parentheses first. So y equals 2 times x, x squared, plus x plus 1 when you FOIL. PEMDAS, we got to do parentheses. I'm going to actually simplify inside the grouping first. This is x squared plus 2x plus 1. Can't do anything with the 4 yet because you have to distribute the 2. Y equals 2x squared plus 4x plus 2 minus 4. Now I can combine those. Again, you will not have to do this for the graphing on your test. You'll be given something like this. And you will be asked to graph the function, and you're going to have to give the vertex, the axis of symmetry. I'm going to pause this for a moment and copy and paste that information down here at the bottom. Okay, I copied and pasted that information for us. So how do you find the vertex? The formula for the vertex should be on the board. To find the x of the vertex, it actually comes from the equation of the axis symmetry. So you might want to do that first. You know, the axis symmetry is x equals -b over 2a. So x equals, remember this is your a, this is your b, this is your c. So So I've got negative b over 2a. b is 4. A is 2. And so look, this bottom here, 2 times 2 is 4. Negative 4 divided by 4 is negative 1. So the equation for your axis symmetry is x equals negative 1. Folks, you must write it as an equation. It is going to be a line. It's an equation of a line. Okay, it has to be written that way. Now take a look at this, max value and min value. It's one or the other, not both. So don't put stuff for both of them, okay? It's either a max or it's a min. We don't know yet because we didn't graph it. All right, so that's how you find the axis symmetry. The vertex is next. Well, the coordinates for the vertex is negative b over 2a. And then you're going to evaluate or find f of negative b over 2a. Don't let this be something that's like, what? It's not that bad. We know the x for the vertex is negative 1. To find the y, you're going to find f of negative 1. You're going to substitute the negative 1 into the equation up here, the original. So we go 2x squared plus 4x minus 2, and you're going to sub in this negative 1 right in here. And you're going to do the computation. Be careful that you're using PEMDAS. When you square negative, it's positive. So this becomes 2 times positive 1. Okay, if this number was a 3, then that would be a 9. Okay, but it's not a 3, it's a 1. So we've got 2 times positive 1 is 2. Look, positive 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. And then minus 2. All right, this becomes 2 minus 6, or 2 minus 6 is negative 4. Okay, so my vertex has coordinates negative 1, negative 4. You're going to want to go to the graph and plot negative 1, negative 4. Okay, x is negative 1, y is negative 4. Puts me right there. That's a vertex. You're going to have to draw the axis symmetry and label it on the graph. So you might as well do that right away. X equals negative 1. Okay, that's your AOS. All right, now we have to find other points. We have to find points P, P prime, Q, and Q prime. Okay, so let's do that here. We did talk about in the video lesson that you can let point P be the y-intercept. Okay, if it's the y-intercept, the coordinates are 0, y. So you're really finding f of 0 because anywhere on the y-axis, the x value is 0. So we're finding f of 0. Again, you're using this same thing right here that we did up here. All right, so we're finding f of 0. 2 parentheses square plus 4 parentheses minus 2. Put the 0 in. What do we got here? That goes away, that equals 0. That goes away, that equals 0. So f of 0 equals negative 2. Or y is negative 2. Right here are the coordinates for your y-intercept or point P. So point P has coordinates 0, negative 2. All right, we're going to go up to the graph. We're going to plot 0, negative 2. X is 0, y is negative 2. Right there. Folks, just like we did on problem up above, since this point is 1 unit to the right of the axis of symmetry, the corresponding point would be 1 unit to the left of the axis of symmetry. And you're going to put a dot right there. Okay, let's see if I can zoom in on this a little bit. Okay, so you could see it better. Right there. What are the coordinates of that point? Well, x is -2, y is -2. So your P prime has coordinates -2, -2. All right, on to the next one. Just pick an x value. It's kind of like you're making a table without making a table. So I'm going to pick an x value of 1. I want to find, okay, so this is point P. I'm going to just find point Q. You're going to let x be 1. Okay? Then you're going to find f of 1. Okay, you're going to do the same thing up here. 2 parenthesis 1 squared, add 4 parenthesis 1 minus 2. Okay, 1 squared is 1 times 2 is 2. 4 times 1 is 4, it's positive. This becomes 2 plus 4, 6 minus 2 is 4. So guess what? F of 1 equals 4. Therefore, the coordinates of this point are 1, 4. Okay, so that's point Q, 1, 4. I'm going to plot it. I'm going to make my graph bigger so we can see it. I'm going to plot 1, 4. Okay, so I've got x is 1, y is 1, 2, 3, 4. I already have the coordinates for it. I have to find the corresponding. That's why drawing the axis symmetry on your graph is important. That's 2 units away from the axis symmetry. The corresponding point is 2 units on the other side of the axis symmetry. And so that would be that point right there. Remember, this was Q. This is Q prime. This was P. This was P prime. This is your vertex. Okay? I'm actually going to take this opportunity now, since I have the graph enlarged, to draw the parabola. Right. Okay, as best I can here on this tablet writer. Okay, so I'm coming, don't draw too far past that. Draw your arrows. All lines have arrows, including axis of symmetry and your parabolas. They all have arrows. Don't lose points for arrows. Okay, so there's my parabola. I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to give the coordinates for point P prime, or Q prime rather. That was this one over here. So x is 1, 2, -3. Y is 1, 2, 3, 4. So -3, 4. Last thing I'm going to do is determine this stuff here. Look, it has a lowest point. So it's definitely not a max, it's a min. I'm going to just cross that out. Min value is whatever y equals. And folks, the vertex tells a lot. Axis symmetry is the x value. In equation form, x equals -1. And the min value is the y. So y equals -4. Okay. Let me know if you have any questions. Please reach out.